Hi everyone, you're back with the Lone Wolf again. Welcome to the show. In today's video, I'm going to outline 5 key personality traits or characteristics that, in my view, will assist you in experiencing life to its maximum, both from a career sense and a personal standpoint. Of course, these are not the only beneficial attributes, but they will certainly be useful to possess. I'd also like to add that, like many of you out there, I would still consider my own development as gestational, with much more to be done in the coming years. And I'll continue to strive towards that until my final breath, in fact. This model that I've created was inspired by the 5 P's of marketing: product, price, promotion, place, and people. I've found over the past few years, and particularly in relation to recent events in my life, the same themes and attitudes tend to crop up with respect to success in one's life, career, and personal development. I'm going to discuss each of these characteristics or traits in detail, provide examples from my own life and that of others, so that you'll be able to internalize the information and adapt it for your own needs. I'd love to hear your own stories and experiences with relevance to these attributes in the comments, and I'll remind you of that nearer the end. With that said, let's get going. The first trait is passion. There's a famous quote from Confucius: "The will to win, the desire to succeed, the urge to reach your full potential. These are the keys that will unlock the door to personal excellence." Although these traits are in no particular order, I certainly regard passion or enthusiasm to be near the top. Having passion for your work takes the effort away in most cases, and it becomes more of a life calling. You forget all about the reasons for doing something and get drawn into the task and immersed in what you're doing. I can provide numerous instances to illustrate how passion is truly important if you are to realize your own dreams and ambitions. At school, I absolutely despised maths, numbers and statistics. I had no love for the area, and the purpose of algebra, formulas, calculus was lost on me. This was partly because I disliked the teacher, but also, with hindsight, I just wasn't ready during those years, and the fire within me was simply a mere ember. I fast forward a few years to around the age of 21, and I was just starting a degree, having quit my mundane job. Again, a pursuit that I hated, but by this age I was ready to return to study and had developed a huge passion and enthusiasm for the area. So I spent a massive amount of time reading, working on assignments and so forth, eventually attaining a high degree classification. When it came time to do the statistical elements of my research, I had a real love for the topic and the process of interpreting and analysing data, so I went away and read numerous books on statistical analysis to truly understand the process and the theories and concepts. The best aspect of this was that it wasn't boring like I remembered it at school. I could see purpose, and better still, I remembered and internalised the information, whereas before there was little to no hope. The latent passion that wasn't being directed into my maths class at the age of 14 or 15 was instead being diverted away into extracurricular activities. I had not long developed a real enthusiasm and fondness for music, the guitar, rock music in particular, and just earned enough money to buy my first proper guitar with an amplifier. It was a Fender Stratocaster that I still own to this day, 20 years later or so. I poured many hours into the instrument and playing along with songs, trying to improvise solos from my favourite bands, coming up with riffs, getting a band together at school. I dumped so much time into this pursuit, far more each day than I put into my schoolwork, that some days I'd practice as much as 8 to 10 hours, especially at weekends. And the thing is, it never felt like work. Although I was technically working, per se, I'd started having 1 guitar lesson a week and my playing began to improve more and more. And these lessons were group lessons with other students that I didn't really know or speak to, but over a few months I became aware that I was accelerating through material and getting more advanced, whereas others were going at a slower pace. So I put this down surely to the sheer amount of time and practice that I was doing, as I've never regarded myself as innately musical or talented, and I have my own ideas about talent and nature versus nurture, such that in my opinion genetic endowment in any field does matter, but will always take a back seat to hard graft and quality practice with the right team. So if I'd placed the same investment and passion into my maths class, I have no doubt I would have achieved high grades in it, and the past could have been very different. However, I have no regrets about how all this panned out. I've learnt a lot from the experience, and I now take all of my passions very seriously and sink huge amounts of time and effort into them. After all, we are only on this planet for a very short period of time, so my message to you is to treat whatever you do, whatever you are passionate about, with immense respect. If you enjoy weight training, for example, don't do some BS program or simply turn up and go through the motions. Walk into the gym like you're going to tear the place apart. Strive to better your performance at all times. Keep a training log. Learn about the nutrition side. Put together a consistent, well thought out plan. In other areas, let's say you have a fondness for business and want to become an entrepreneur. Educate yourself, watch YouTube videos about trading or property development, attend workshops, seminars led by people who know or who are in the game, and get yourself a mentor. This is extremely important. We are blessed to live in an age where knowledge and information is out there. You just need the drive, passion and ambition to grab it. My experiences have demonstrated to me the importance of having passion in what you do, and I strongly urge all of you to find as many vocations, life goals or callings as you can. Pursue them all with a fervent passion and enthusiasm, and always remember that the more you know, the more aware you are of how little you know. The best teachers remain students their entire lives. Therefore, you should always remain the eternal student and never stop seeking knowledge and enlightenment. Perseverance. Character cannot be developed in ease and quiet. Only through experience of trial and suffering can the soul be strengthened, ambition inspired, and success achieved. Helen Keller. Over the last couple of years, I've found that perseverance is a supremely virtuous attitude to have. In life, I can attest that 90% of the time we get rejected or receive the undesirable outcome. These rejections can batter the spirit and the soul, and it can be almost irresistible at times to throw in the towel, give up and try something else. Now, I'm not against anyone being as diverse as they can and having as many strings to their bow as possible. In fact, I recommend it. However, I would urge everyone to develop resilience and a positive attitude. Referring back to my musical pursuits at school, my band and I eventually recorded a demo CD in a proper studio. A wonderful experience just hanging out with your friends, recording songs that we all composed and contributed to. Although that was a great snapshot in time, a fantastic memory I'd think back to often, nothing came of the CD and nobody got in touch with us. At the time I couldn't really understand it, but in reflection, it just wasn't good enough. If you're not exposed to rejection, you don't develop the adaptation to it. You don't develop the hard outer shell that we all need to be successful. Following that, we also entered a Battle of the Bands type competition at school. 2 of them, in fact, and we came second both times. Later we found out that it had been rigged, as the family members of the winning band had judged it, but I took it personally. At this time I was looking for validation from others almost dependent on it, and fortunately for me, over the last 20 years I now rely on very little, if any, external sources of validation, just myself. More recently I know of very close friends who've been trying desperately hard to get full-time jobs in their areas of expertise, having been on part-time contracts for years and years since graduating from their courses. Their jobs are highly sought after and competitive, with about 100 applicants per position. They've applied 7 or 8 times between them and got to interview maybe 5 times. After each negative outcome, they've gone away and brushed themselves off, but you can see the cracks starting to appear and their resilience starting to buckle. They've gone away, planned how they can improve themselves, their skill set and their CVs to try and get the roles. And after the 5th rejection, it can get pretty old. But one of them has recently interviewed again and got awarded the job. So instead of elation, it's a feeling of sweet relief to finally get the position, but it also serves a powerful lesson. Never stop striving for what you want in life. So to sum up this attitude, keep fighting, never say die, don't give up, and maintain laser-like precision focus on your life goals and objectives. Patience. Patience, persistence, and perspiration make an unbeatable combination for success. Napoleon Hill. The old saying that patience is a virtue certainly rings true, as anything worth having usually requires hard work, a substantial time investment, as well as consistent effort to attain. With that said, if you look after the process, then the outcome tends to take care of itself. Whatever pursuits, pastimes and hobbies you take up, do consider that mastery takes time, and you will need to be patient. The journey is often the best part. Let's take a classical musician whose end goal is to be the lead violin soloist in a prestigious orchestra, such as the Czech Philharmonic, for example, or whatever. If this kind of prestige came easy, with little effort, it would surely not be worth accomplishing in the first place. No, this is going to take years of study and hard work, whatever age you start. In fact, in my view, the starting age most of the time is irrelevant, but again, that's a separate topic. The key thing is that a considerable amount of investment will be required to learn technique, scales, musical theory, phrasing, vibrato, form, and all of the other elements that contribute to being a top-class performer and musician. A different example, let's say you want to be a leading researcher in whatever field, oncology for example. Regardless of your preliminary education at school, you're going to have to get your undergraduate degree, master's, PhD, and then will probably have to do postdoctoral work, or even med school, before you get anywhere near that sort of post, and that's nigh on 10 years already. Add to that building up your research skills, portfolio, publications, and you have a considerable amount of work and effort. But if you were to be patient and work your ass off, it could certainly be possible with the right mindset. In more blue-collar type jobs, it would again take a fair bit of time. I remember a friend of mine left school without going to college, and he did an apprenticeship in electrical engineering whilst learning on the job. After 7 years, and before we fell out of contact, he was only just starting to make real money and had started to build a solid reputation and portfolio. The core message here with this attribute is that you need hard work, passion and commitment, but allied to that you also require patience. If the reward was instant, we would all be doing it, and it's those who are truly patient and work their asses off who end up receiving the rewards. Planning. Plans are nothing, planning is everything. Dwight D. Eisenhower. It's no good having a dream, ambition, or goal without a fundamental understanding of how you are going to achieve it. We all know people that talk a good game, that openly state they are going to do something but then never deliver. I think this stems from a lack of knowledge about where to start, or simply a lack of willpower to get cracking and move things forward. For the past few years, I've routinely updated my overarching plan for the future. Now, this isn't set in stone, it's a clear outline of the job I eventually want, the type of income, the hobbies or pursuits I have, the place I want to live, qualifications, accreditations, and so on, business ideas, different ventures with colleagues and friends. It even includes more personal things such as places I've been on holiday. Like I said before in previous videos, I lived a sheltered life until my late 20s. So there's very many places on the bucket list to travel. For example, I had a successful job application a few years ago that got ticked off the plan, and I added the skills to the portfolio, and the arrow was then pointing towards the next target. If the situation changes, then so does the plan. The plan has to be flexible and reactive to the situation and the landscape that you're faced with. I think this framework provided me with the direction so that I don't just coast through life. This stems from my understanding that I'm only here the once, and as long as I have fitness, health and drive, I need to optimize my time and truly live the fullest life possible. So I'd strongly urge you all to formulate your own plan, wherever you are in life, and start putting together a battle strategy for achieving these goals. Are there qualifications that you might need? Are there conditions that need to be met? Will you need to relocate? You should then create several divergent routes that you might take as backups or alternatives. Put the plan somewhere safe, as it's personal to you, or save it on your PC. I urge you to check it again every few months to monitor your progress. And don't forget to think about the opportunity cost of making specific decisions. Another aspect that might warrant inclusion in your planning is a list of SMART goals. That's specific, measurable, achievable, realistic and timely. While sometimes I think that setting unattainable or unrealistic goals can make you reach even greater heights, in the main you should follow this paradigm in your goal setting. By putting together a list of short-term goals, ticking them off once they're done, the long-term goals will come sooner than you think. Never underestimate the value of planning. It's crucial for many people, and I'm sure it will be a benefit to you. Lastly, purpose. As far as we can discern, the sole purpose of human existence is to kindle a light in the darkness of mere being. Carl Jung. Last but by no means least, purpose is a crucial attribute to underpin your attainment and self-improvement. You should address each worthwhile task or goal with determination and resolve. Otherwise, what's the point? This could involve anything you can think of, be it reading, writing books or novels, blog posts, composing music, doing video game reviews, absolutely anything that you think is going to add value for people. This can border on the obsessive, I understand that. But if you look at anybody that has attained success, they have demonstrated this tendency in spades. Stephen King writes 2,000 words a day, regardless of the quality. Elite athletes are training every single day. Just think about legends from the past, like Johnny Wilkinson with his rugby kicking, place kicking. Tom Brady, any of these guys, Michael Jordan. They're very, very disciplined in the amount of work and practice they do every day. My point is that purpose is the key and underpins many of the traits I've discussed before. What would your mindset be if you were told that you had 24 hours to live? This is what you should be mindful of. We are all simply bullets, fired from a celestial gun, all on staggered and discrete trajectories toward oblivion, and it's up to us all to make a lasting impact on the world. I'm going to speak again about legacy, so I won't talk about it in any great detail here, but one really should try to leave behind evidence of their contribution to humanity in some form, and the cybersphere makes this possible now more than ever. So what are you waiting for? Get out there, start making waves. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I found my framework useful. I'm very keen to hear your own ideas and thoughts on these attributes, particularly from your own experience and success. Don't forget to like, subscribe and comment as always. Your continued support and enthusiasm to the channel is appreciated. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.